But why on earth did I put the triangle this way? What's that about?
It's got to lead to.
Lead to what?
Lead to the bottom.
Okay, but if it's big at the top, what does that mean?
Usually make a universal
general.
Exactly, universal statement, general, okay? The first sentence of the essay, it can't be specific. It has to be something big and a general thing, yeah? Very good. And then that becomes more and more and more?
Specific.
Good. Now this one is exactly the
Opposite.
start off very, very,
Specific.
and end?
General.
Got it. Okay. Nice. Very, very good. Okay. Before we go there, what was it, Melanie, to minimize this guy again?
Escape.
Sorry?
Escape.
Escape. Thank you. Here we go. Okay. So. So, excuse me. So here it is. Here's our essay, okay? And we already looked at the different components, yeah? So let's have Melanie, you want to come up and play around with the smartboard? So what I would like you to do is just gently do the ones underlined first, yeah? I'll give you a demonstration. Just gently tap, and then you just go, put it maybe here. Okay, off you go. There we go. There you go. And then do the other guy. Okay. And where's the other one? Where did it go? I'm not sure. Lovely. Thank you so much. Perfect. Okay. Right. So, and also, the students love playing with these boards, So I think they would enjoy that, the whole, Okay, so then what I also like doing as far as, teaching them in class is giving them practice writing that first sentence, because they really find it hard to stay general. They really, really do. So this is what I do sometimes. I say, okay guys, here are the titles of your essay, the topics, whatever you want, yeah? First one, war should always be prevented, global warming is a myth, people are intrinsically good. And what I'll do is, I'll say, okay, this one first, and I'll have them just write 2 minutes, a sentence, general sentence, yeah? And then we just quickly feedback, what do you think, yes, no, too specific, not specific enough. So I did this one as an example, okay? War should always be prevented. So here I put down 4 different beginning statements for the introduction, yeah? George, what do you think, or anybody, not just George, which one do you think is the best one?
Some people believe that war's never a good thing while it's really something.
Okay, that's yours. What do you guys think?
Wars have been taking place for a long time.
Yeah, this one is actually more general than this one, okay? Because this one, you're talking wars in general. You're talking about a long time, not a specific time. Here, you're talking about certain people and certain people. You know what I'm saying? So that's already second sentence, probably, yeah? So you can either have them identify or have them create and then practice it that way, yeah? Okay, so again, what I mentioned before is the thing with the main idea versus the specific ideas, and they have a hard time doing that as well. So, if you will just humor me for a few minutes, I just have a really quick activity, and it goes like this. I'm going to give everybody a green piece of paper, okay? And so the idea behind this activity is actually twofold. Number one, the obvious one, the main, identifying the difference between the two kinds of ideas. But the other one, and I think it's equally as important almost, is this. You see these two dudes here, they're dancing, having a good time. I think it's really, really important for students to get up and move. Because if they're sitting in their seat, and they are a little sleepy, ladies' night, etc., you know, and they're sort of trying to stay awake. I mean, if you physically involve them, then I have to imagine somehow that their brains got to be engaged. I mean, again, it's not an empirical study that I did, but it just sort of seems to make sense to me. So.
Actually, there are empirical studies, though, that back up what you say physiologically.
Really?
For the brain,
Thank
yeah.
you,
It triggers the kinesthetic activity. There's a specific name for it, which I don't remember right this very moment off the top of my head.
Sure.
But the kinesthetic activity triggers certain parts of the brain that actually stimulate long-term memory. Because in long-term memory, it has to have something to attach to.
Well, thank you so much.
You're very
Great. Yay. Okay, lovely. Right, so correcting. You know, how do we correct writing? I mean, that's, you know, a huge one. So here we go. What I did was I wrote down two sentences which are identical. And what I did was I just used two different ways two different techniques, if you like, to correct, yeah? George, you want to look at the first one, or see, could you identify the differences? What is the difference between the two?
Between the two...
sentences, between the two ways of correcting a student's what? Oops, sorry.
Yeah, one is... Okay, well...
You're writing the actual extension.
Sorry?
Go on, Kim.
In the first example, you're actually changing the word, writing the correct word. In the second example, you're using symbols, writing correction symbols to...
Right, exactly. Okay, so in the first one, you're actually doing the work for them, and in the second one, you're not.
Right.
Okay, which one is more effective, do you think, for students? The second one, right? Which one's easier for the teacher? The first one.
Yeah.
You know? This one is time consuming. I mean, correcting writing is time consuming, as we know, period. But when we're doing this method, it's even more time consuming because there's a lot of back and forth. Stephen's my student. I'll put my symbols. I give it to him. He goes home, or in class, whatever, corrects the symbols. I take it back. Are his corrections correct? If not, give it back to him, and he does the final draft or whatever, you know? So it's quite the process versus he gives me his work, I make all the corrections, thank you, have a good day. Done. You know? So it's just interesting, you know, to compare and to think about maybe doing it differently, but yeah, okie dokes. So.
And
sorry, George?
these symbols are somewhat internationally understood?
No, but what you
She
do is
gave
you
you
hand
a-
out
Yeah, it's coming. Melanie, do you know how I get back my little PowerPoint guide? Is that what
you can move the actual object.
Yeah, if you click on it.
Like you normally would, like this is an
Tap.
object. Oops, what is my thing?
No, it's not because it's the photograph.
Yeah.
Then you just give this to the student?
Yeah, so that they know
Okay.
what each symbol means.
Okay,
and
thank you
they
so
can
much.
correct their own work.
So here we go. Here are some suggested correction symbols. I just, you know, I made these up. It's certainly not comprehensive. Depending on the level, you can go into more detail, like instead of just putting grammar, which maybe would be good for a level 5 or 6, for a lower level, you could put something like preposition, article, you know, blah, blah, whatever, word form, or, you know, we did have one, I don't know if you remember, Stephen, when David was here, we did have actually a sort of an official correction symbol chart, which I couldn't find, and so I sort of gave you the one, part of the one that I use, but, you know, this is something that we can get hold of, if it still exists in the school. So no, it's not universally, no.
No.
But the technique is, you know?
And once they have it, or once if you ever do it, you give them this.
Uh-huh.
And you make
Yeah,
copies of
little
this and you just attach it. Go.
Go.